morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Napoleon Toll back with some Shogun 2 Fall of Samurai Scramble for the Far East mod. In this episode, we're going to finally attack Setsu, and Setsu is actually held by this massive British army. We are going to assault it with two armies against the British two armies. Our armies are, in my idea, is better, but the enemy has almost or exactly the same numbers that we have. In this battle, we are fighting near this telephone station, this rail station to be exact. We can eventually upgrade it to a, what's it called, railroad. And yes, in the front lines, I have my colonial infantry. For the order of battle, I have decided to put my colonial infantry in the front, my elite infantry on the flanks, and, well, most of them, and my line infantry and my lifeguards in reserve. For now. My artillery is being set up, and so is the rest of my army. So that's great. For those that haven't been watching, this is a series of battles that I've been fighting against the British Empire for domination for the middle part of Japan. Anyway, the British are sporting this colonial South Sutherland Highlanders, followed behind by some more colonial Highlanders, followed by colonial light infantry, Gurkha rifles. Gurkha rifles. Wow, Gurkha rifles. That's pretty scary. Sepoy infantry. So a lot of non-British infantry we have here on this battle today. Some Gurkhas. They remind me of the King's German Legion, by the way, from the Napoleonic Wars. We have some Welsh infantry, some colonial line infantry. This British army is anything but small. It is 100% massive. More Highlanders. The only units they don't have are the Guards infantry, for example, the Grenadier Guards, the Scots Guard, the Welsh Guards, the Irish Guards, and obviously the Coldstream Guards, which they don't have, I think. Behind them we have some more Gurkhas, 12-pounder foot artillery, a 12-pounder horse artillery, my bad, a 12-pounder artillery, my bad. Some more Highlanders and more Highlanders with some volunteer infantry. My men, my artillery to be exact, is going to be setting up. I only have 2 pieces of artillery. I didn't bring any more, well, because the only pieces of artillery I have is these 2 pieces of artillery. We're going to unlimber, and we're going to start opening fire on the British. The British at this point are still stretching out their lines, and yes, so they are marching very slowly, while my men are getting into action. And we're immediately going to open fire. The first barrage has been fired, and we've done a tremendous amount of damage, looking from this screen. Obviously, on the actual battlefield, most of the people who were shot away just got up. But, it's suppression fire. My infantry are going to move up to help see if the enemy are going to attack this place, also to protect my guns from any cavalry that the British might have, which they don't have a lot, but any cavalry can do against my artillery, so it is pretty scary. Anyway, my artillery is just firing away. The British army at this point is still walking in perfect order. No need to panic, especially under fire. My artillery is pounding them, this is why you can see a lot of dead bodies running around. But the British are just going to carry on with their business and just going to move. Once again, the very awesome looking uniforms on the British army. Once again, for those that have not been watching my videos, the Scarlet Red uniform was adopted by the British Army because it was the cheapest to produce. Also, later on, just became a symbol of the British, and they never got rid of it. To this day, if you go to London, Buckingham Palace, you can still see the Grenadier Guards wearing the traditional Grenadier caps and red, black trousers and red, I'm forgetting the name, what the heck is wrong with me today? Red coats, I guess. As you can see, the British kit is also interesting. Yep, the entire British army is pretty interesting. volunteer infantry, sepoys, Welsh Fusiliers, and artillery net is trying to set up desperately. But the British are just going to move ever so slowly. While finally on the flank, I decided to put my more elite units on the flank, because on the flank you can see this massive hill. It is not massive, but it is more than enough to give us an advantage. So I'm going to be moving most of my Prussian line infantry, Württemberg infantry, and more Prussian line infantry onto that hill and try to capture it. On the left flank, I have my life guards just moving, and we are going to try to attack the British on the flank. Because the British are going to play the game of, they're going to concentrate most of their attacks in the center. I'm going to concentrate most of my attacks on the flank. So all I have to do is hold my center with my colonial lines while my flanks do most of the killing. As you can see in the far back, we also have our general and my cavalry. And these guys are going to cut down enemy survivors, because using them in actual combat is suicide. In the front lines, you can see this massive front line stretching from all the way to that hill to here, and even going even more with my lifeguards. You can see this massive front line as just going underway. As you can see, most of the enemy is placed in the center, and they're going to be trying to attack through the center. Finally, the enemy actually attack, and the aspects were not that bad. For my men are just trying to control the hill desperately, as quick as physically possible. It is not a pretty sight for the British, nor is it a pretty sight for me. My men are getting gunned down, but so are 2 other British. The British made a mistake in the sense that they are clumping up their forces, which is not a bad idea in the sense that they are trying to break through my center, which this is my center. One of the reasons why my center is being held is because of that hill on the right. But for the British, they're moving up even closer, and I guess it's well known to me and my allies, me and my enemy, that the closer you get, the more shots will hit. As well, as you can see, these Welsh Fusiliers are just opening fire on me, and we are doing a terrific job of firing back. Once again, in my center, my guys are not the most elite, but they are what they are, and they will hold. As a matter of fact, all these, compared to the rest of my army, my colonial infantry has almost the exact same stats. But they just have less men, so that is going to be a problem. More Highland Foot are opening fire, and yes, behind them we have even more troops just massing through the center. The only problem I see with that is the enemy does not care about their flanks, and I'm going to flank. I think that is what should happen for most Total War battles. If the enemy decides to attack your center flank, if your enemy decides to flank, you counter that flank or something like that. But whatever your enemy does, do against them. Fighting a pitched battle like this is extremely costly for both sides, and who knows who might win. On the top of the hill, my men are opening fire, and this is where my center meets my right flank. And as you can see, that little curve right there is where my center meets my right flank, and we are just trying to gun down the enemy. The enemy decide to eventually try to assault this hill, which they're gonna take extremely heavy casualties. To make it worse, I'm eventually gonna bring up my artillery and just gonna open fire with canister on these guys, so it's gonna be very devastating for both sides. For me, in the sense now, I'm taking heavy casualties holding the hill, but for the British, it's extremely heavy casualties trying to take the hill. As you can see, this Colonial Sutherland infantry is just literally opening fire at point blank at my guys, and we are returning fire at almost point blank. If there's one thing I'm afraid of the British, it's the Highlanders. These guys are extremely scary and devastating. All you have to do is look at the Battle of Argelès, and you will know what the heck I'm talking about. As we continue on, my men are just opening fire en masse at the enemy. At this point, we kind of stop firing because the enemy is not really coming at us anymore. They're regrouping. And finally, they've decided to attack again, and my guys have finally moved up our artillery. They've decided to just come straight running at us for some reason. They're not running, they're just walking up the hill, which is a very good thing for me because I'm trying to gun them down as quickly as physically possible. And because I have my artillery set up, I'm gonna prepare to open fire with artillery. And the volunteer infantry that the British have right there are just gonna get gunned down by my men as my artillery gets set up. As you can see on the entire flank, we also tried to take the entire ridge, and in which we were successful. The British are now trying to attack the entire ridge, and now at this point, general confusion has set in with the British army, and most of their army is running away. To make it worse for the British, on my left flank, I'm trying to push my lifeguards as far as I can, and we're just gonna attack the British on the flank. As you can see, there are some units of mine that are just opening fire on the entire flank, and we're just gonna be opening fire. Once again, the lifeguards are my best troop that I can bring to the battlefield, and they are absolutely terrifying. In this scenario, we are not opening fire as much as I want to because we are technically in. There's actually a small hill in the way, and some of my guys cannot fire because of line of sight issues. So yes. As you can see, most of the enemy army is running, and that is why I'm starting to switch from canister to regular shot. Although canister still works because there are still some enemies trying to attack the hill. So yes. This is a very glorious day for me. We essentially took on a British army about our same size, and we still came on top. So that's wonderful. Now you can see one of the reasons why I fear the Highlanders so much is because they will not break. No, under any circumstances they will not break until, well, the entire battle is losing, of course. There are some cases in history, I'm pretty sure of it, that the Highlanders did break, but apparently this is a good demonstration of them not breaking. On the right you can see that the volunteer infantry is breaking, along with, yeah, more volunteer infantry just giving up hope. They're running away, but this is almost at the very end of the battle. The Highlanders are still kicking and fighting, and they're actually doing so much damage. Now I'm going to push my entire army down the hill, and we're just going to open fire at them point blank.
Victory is assured, sir.
Once again, nice detail to the uniforms of enemy. Now the British have decided, the battle's over, and it's already been lost. But to add some insult and injury, my guys just open fire on them while they retreat. Finally, at the end, my entire army just comes in to rout the remaining British units. There are some British units that are still facing, but all major resistance has ceased. My cavalry is now just gonna clean up the rest, and yes, this is the Battle of Amagasaki. Sorry, this is not the Battle of Amagasaki. This is the Battle of Amagasaki. Anyway, we've taken the British army on the field. We are now gonna assault Setsu. We're gonna continue siege, and we're just gonna bring our other army. And to my horror, with bringing my other army, I have more trouble with bringing another army than having one army. So I'm gonna auto-resolve and see what the heck happens. And it was a pretty decisive, losing 608 while killing the entire two British armies, which I probably just destroyed also at the Battle of Amagasaki, I think. The battle that we just fought. Yes, so basically the only territories the British have now are one, Sanda, which I'm not sieging it, but an island and another province that I'm sieging. So yes, that's quite sad. What else? Well, nothing much is going on. We still have our war with the Northern Alliance, which we're gonna wrap up as soon as possible. Although most of the efforts right now are against the British. We're gonna fight another British army, and we're gonna auto-resolve. I do really want to capture a colonial field cannon, but I don't think that's possible. But however, we didn't lose a single person, so that's wonderful. The population in these newly captured territories hate me. I don't blame them. And yes, anything else? We are gonna take the last British, well, one of the last British settlement that is not on an island, and we're gonna try our best to hold it. Well, capture it, to be exact. And yep, there's nothing much. The last settlement is Bison. And I'm just trying to see what other British settlement they have left. Sanda is one of the others. And we're going to try our best to scout. There is not a British, well, there is a British general there, but there's not a massive British army. There is a massive British army just sitting there, literally on the beach, with another British army trying to reinforce. So that is problematic. For some reason, I have a feeling that they're stuck there, so yes. With some provinces, I can actually exempt them from taxes because we have so much money now, and yeah. And for some reason, I have this feeling that public order, in terms of rebellion, doesn't really work. So yeah, that's a problem. I don't see a lot of people rebelling, even though I've been taxing either the heck out of them or they hate me so badly. So that's interesting. So I'm gonna essentially continue to siege the Northern Alliance capital. We're gonna quick save because I need to save my progress, like with any game. And we're gonna end the turn. The British, as we can see, are just sending in their geishas. They want a peace treaty, which they already started offering it. They're at war with so many nations that yeah, it is wise for them to offer peace, but I'm not gonna accept peace because I want all of the British land. The Netherlands is probably going to be my biggest threat after the war with the British. And on the next turn, one of our agents have been detected, military breakthrough, stuff like that. Yeah, we are just breaking through because we have so much land. Technology is increasingly researched at a fast rate. Although you can also argue that because yeah, this is actually the time of massive progressment. As a matter of fact, in 3 more years, the American Civil War is going to start. Oh, sorry, in 4 more years. Yeah, this is 1860, so in 4 more years, the American Civil War is going to start. So, yes, very bloody war. But at least the Americans don't have to worry about what the heck is going on in Japan. I am leaving some units to garrison Setsu because I actually am afraid of a rebellion. But although rebellions have been seeming very lackey, Bison is being gonna be sieged, and I'm just gonna continue to siege because I have no faith in me actually winning a siege battle that I am not interested in. My army is still getting replenished, but stuff like that. Yeah, eventually we're gonna take out Sanda, and yes, we have actually doubled our territory ever since the War of the British. Well, actually, no, not since the War of the British. We've been getting bigger and bigger as time went on, but yes. Now we're just gonna be invading the Northern Alliance, and the Northern Alliance, for some reason, hasn't sent any troops. I have seen any troops in the field. Their only army is being sieged up by my massive army of lifeguards, so yeah. Christian's doing that, he's sieging out Miyagi. The British also decided to sally out, and I'm gonna meet them on the battlefield because, although it is highly auto-resolvable, I decided not. And you see me here already deploying stakes, and the first thing I'm gonna do is retreat a little bit back because the terrain is definitely not in my advantage. It looks like flat terrain, but there are so many bumps here and there that it is literally impossible for my guys to actually open fire in one way, which gives the advantage not to me but to my enemies. So that's a no-no. On a battlefield, you must find all the advantages and use them against your enemy. So that is the most important thing. As you can see, my guys are stretched out so long that my camera is just looking at them the entire way. Yeah, the entire line looks literally so straight that, yeah. You can literally stick a ruler in there and you can literally measure the distance. The enemy is going to be attacking the old-fashioned way, which is grouping up, attacking for the center or the flank or the right flank. They're just going to be mobbing up, and which is what I exactly want them to do. Especially trained killers like my lifeguards, they're going to do a lot of damage. The enemy army is mostly made of this militia, which is once again not impressive at all. Militia kind of suck compared to regular troops. I don't think I have to say that. I don't think I have to say why. Yes, but the enemy has a lot of this militia that is currently being pounded by my mortars. Some spear levies, some militia, and a lot more militia. So yeah, the enemy army is just like a mob, with no general to lead them, so that's going to be even more problematic.
The enemy has hidden units, sir.
My mortars, speaking of which, my mortars are opening fire. There I have at least 4 teams of them, and we're just shelling the heck out of our enemies. My mortars get some 100 damage before we actually met in combat, I think. Combined, of course. Mortars are insane, but they're not that powerful. Although I find that mortars are extremely useful against cavalry, which you can try to use. And with that, we're gonna be looking at our front lines, which have, as of right now, open fire. Or at least my left flank has open fired. The enemy, we have this massive, well, not this massive, we have this we have this small hill in front of which is making some of our firing problematic. But almost everyone on the right flank is just opening fire. Obviously, the enemy has some artillery of their own, and they're returning fire, but not to the same extent as my guys. The enemy is being pounded by my artillery, and we can see some firing done by the enemy militia. They're just getting, well, they're not. Well, actually, no. None of my units are focusing on this one exact unit, but the other units are getting shredded. As you can see, the British officer who is leading them. This one unit of militia is like telling his men to open fire and stuff like that, but they are getting shredded by my infantry, and the infantry that they're facing right now is the lifeguards, so that is not a joke. To make it worse, the British are going to blob up, which means more kills for my lifeguards, which is wonderful. And yes. Not a pretty sight for the British Army. Not a pretty sight for these militia either. I expect them to run right away really fast. But surprisingly, they actually hold their ground and open fire. On my right flank, because we have this somewhat hill in our disadvantage, I decide to move my army up. And the enemy counters that by literally charging me. Well, not charging me, literally walking into me, to be exact. They actually decide to later charge, and I decide to counter charge. There is this unit on the right flank that is being shot at, but we are just returning fire to. Once again, this is the reason why you have to load your muskets before you actually charge in. And finally, we're actually going to be charging into this flank because my men are so much better compared to theirs in melee, and I actually can't afford to fight in melee. With that, most of the enemy flank is routing away. Some decide to come back, as you can see later on. So yes, we're just chasing them as of right now, and killing a lot of them as I speak. However, I decided to fall my guys back because there's a lot of them, and even the best of troops will get overwhelmed by numbers. The enemy for one unit decided to return to battle and chase me, in which I'm just gonna return to my own battle. I'm just gonna fight in melee against these guys. We're doing a very good job. Most of their units are just running away. Now they're actually running away. The entire army is actually running away. So that's wonderful. I'm gonna actually have my infantry chase them, for my cavalry is doing something else at this moment. As you can see, in the distance we're forming this semicircle and we're just getting them down. So that's interesting. And we're just gonna continue on to attack, and yep, the entire enemy is routed by now. There is still some resistance, but we're just gonna charge that with our cavalry. And the battle has been won. We've lost 140 while the enemy has lost the entire garrison. Well, almost the entire garrison. The Netherlands is gonna help out by sending in agents to harass the British, which I am not against. Just don't send troops. Although you'll see very soon that they don't really follow that rule. Mounting up Resagami, Setsui, a lot of people, a lot of places hate me, even the provinces that I taken a long time ago, so that's weird. This army is mostly made up of a lot of troops, yeah, a lot of good units, some grenadiers too. We're gonna actually try our best to take Sanda before moving on to deal with that army. And because the British have an army, although it's mainly made up of conscripts, we're just gonna, well, not conscripts, they're mainly made up of militia. We're just gonna continue the siege. But for some reason, I think I have a good chance, so I'm just gonna continue the siege, and if the enemy assaults us, which is stupid, we're gonna cut them all down. This settlement is auto-resolvable, and we're just gonna take the, assault this place. As a matter of fact, we've actually captured our mortar, which adds us 5 mortars to this army. As a matter of fact, this army is literally going to have like a lot of mortars, and that's interesting. I decided to add some give military access to the Dutch. I also asked them for military alliance. I'm going to give them infinite military access. I'm going to pay them, and they're a little bit greedy, so I'm going to pay them a lot. And so yes, that's a problem. Their power is terrifying. My power is also terrifying. They are wealthy, and so are us. They have 14 provinces. I have 34 provinces, so that's wonderful. And yeah, the only reason why I'm actually doing this, offering a military alliance, is literally because I am in no position to fight a war with the Dutch, the British, and the Northern Alliance at the same time. After I finish the Northern Alliance and make a somewhat of a be on good terms with the French, which are starting in the Northern Islands, I will actually invade the Dutch and take them out, because they are the last big step for me to unify Japan. And yes, this army of Lancers and infantry is just going to move to Uzen. And we're going to try our best to, yeah, deal with the Northern Alliance as of right now. I have a lot of these armies just here left and right. I don't know what really to do with them. I am trying my best because they are taking up a lot of my economy, my income. And yes, there's nothing I can really do. A lot of places are unhappy, and if I move them out, it's going to be even more problematic. So yes, there's nothing much I can do. To my surprise, Christian has a lot of troops under his command, more than the faction leader himself. And once again, those troops are mostly lifeguards, so one of the best quality armies I ever have. The only problem with his army is that he doesn't have cavalry. So that is problematic. Everything else is just armies sitting around. This army, Tajima, I can actually move out, so I'm just gonna move him to Armina, and we're gonna hopefully use them in battle. I'm gonna recruit some artillery, and those are needed, especially needed in battle. When the enemy comes close, you can flail the enemy with canister, and they'll just get shot apart. I decide whether I can reduce the tax income, and I realize that's a terrible idea. If I lower the tax income is minus 1,000 koku, so that is a terrible idea. I'm not gonna do that. 1,200 to be exact. So yeah, I'm not gonna lower our tax income. And so yes, I'm gonna invade the last British province on the mainland. And I should have sent my spy earlier because, as you can see right now, the Dutch are attacking it with this massive army. I'm surprised to see a lot of interesting units: line infantry, colonial infantry, marines, saber cavalry, colonial saber cavalry, your general, some East Indies infantry. So that's interesting. So yes, anyway, I'm gonna end the turn and wait for the best. The British once again wants a peace treaty, and I'm like, nope. The Dutch wants us to join their war against the faction, and they will join our war against the Northern Alliance. So that is also no. That's a terrible idea because I do not need help in anything. Anyway, this is pretty much it for this episode. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Now, before you leave, I would like to thank you very much for watching this video. I will be honored if you could like and subscribe to the channel. Remember, more videos are coming out, so it is a good idea to click on that notification button. Anyways, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.